queers who forget about struggling to adult, we're struggling to human.
At least that's what everyone's telling us.
You're right.
Per usual. Hey, I'm Angela, bringing sense to the conversation. From here on my soapbox, I shed light on the things society doesn't want you to talk about. You know, the real shit that matters: intersectional thinking, sexuality, queerness, neurodiversity, consent, and the fact that self-care is bullshit. For me, it's all about community and how we can care for each other.
And I'm Molly, giving a big fork you to cookie cutter solutions. I help burnt out, busy as fuck, neurodivergent, and queer entrepreneurs make shit happen by providing out-of-the-box solutions and sustainable systems to grow your biz. For me, it's all about doing what makes sense for your brain.
Enough with the chit-chat. Let's get to it.
Keep listening, and together we'll explore the drudgery, dreams, and all that shit in between. Get ready to call bullshit on what everyone's saying you should be doing,
as we navigate the spectrum between what really matters to you and the shit keeping you from it.
Hey! We are so excited to be back in the
yes,
studio.
we are. Already this morning I'm doing things that people can see, but they can't hear if they're only listening. Like
Yes, we are so excited to be back for season 3 of Drudgery and Dreams. And it has been a roller coaster of a summer for both of us. And we're excited to share all those stories with you and talk about some of those ridiculous transitions that are involved in getting to summer, leaving summer, and all that, as well as kind of tell you what we have in store for season 3, because we're really excited for everything that season 3 has to offer. So I just noticed our names are not in the right place. We're moving. We're gonna move. Yeah, I'm Molly. She's Angela. I was like, that's not right. All right. For all of you tuning in for the first time, you might have seen us and been like, oh, what is this thing? We lose our train of thought a lot. No. So we, in addition to being a podcast, this is a video. And so sometimes we'll do things and then have to verbally explain what's happening because we're stimming or doing something silly. So just be prepared for us to randomly be like, and Angela is now putting her hands together quickly for excited stims. So just so you know. All right. So, this summer has been an adventure.
Okay, first of all, let's just say that this is the second time that we have talked this summer.
Yes.
Like usually we talk
Every
3,
day.
4, 5 times. Okay, every day sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Even on Marco, like we both have been so busy this summer that we and we didn't even talk about this and say, oh, I'm giving myself permission or anything like that.
Yeah.
We just kind of did it. And it was like, I missed you like crazy. And at the same time, I didn't miss you at all. If that makes any sense to anybody who's listening, I'm somebody who, like, if somebody's not right in front of me, I don't necessarily think about that person, or like it's not because I don't love you, but it's like we just went on about our business, and then we came back together like last week and we had this great conversation. And I think that is something that is a very ND thing to do and to be perfectly okay with.
Yes. Well, and I was just thinking as you're talking, I'm like, we talk about object permanence in the sense of like physical things. Like I didn't remember to do my homework because it was in the other room and I didn't see it. Or, oh, I had client work. I didn't pull up Asana or ClickUp or whatever. Right. But there is still this things with humans in object permanence, like out of sight, out of mind. Like I love my kiddo, but when I go on vacation with my husband, unless Blaine calls us, we don't engage. Not because we don't love the kiddo, but because out of sight, out of mind, and we're focusing on what we're focusing on. And I think that is something that should be normalized, especially for ND folks who that is just a fact of life. It doesn't mean you don't care about the person. It doesn't mean that the relationship has changed in necessarily any way. It just means like you're both
It
doing your
means that we
shit.
have to have things in place, like maybe a reminder or something like that, to, hey, call your mom. It's not because you don't love your mom, but you still need that reminder, like, oh, hey, I need to make this call, or to have a picture of the person so that you're thinking about them regularly.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Like, I've talked to a lot of other parents who they don't understand that at all. Like, how do you not think about your kid all day, every day? And honestly, it made it difficult to work with empty nest parents because
Oh,
I just could not quite understand the hours and hours of agony that they experienced when their kid went away to the military or
yeah.
their kid went away to college or whatever. I was like, no.
Mm-hmm. I have, because my kids are young, they're 6, and everybody's like, "Oh, I have baby fever because my kiddo is getting so old, and I just wish they would never grow up." And I'm like, "That sounds counterintuitive. Like, I don't get that. Like, what? I can't
I
like
never
what?"
understood that.
But if they're growing up, that means like they're growing up, and you're doing the thing, and you're helping your kid grow. Like, I just don't get it. And
Yeah.
baby fever is something I never get. So like, ugh. Um, but yes.
Boy, we just got right into it this morning, didn't we?
Right. I mean, the rabbit holes that we go down. Like,
Yeah. But the point of that was that we are like the bestest of friends,
yeah,
and we still spent the entire summer just doing our things and not being frustrated or upset or even thinking that there was something wrong with the
right.
fact that we weren't talking as often as we normally do, and it didn't disrupt our lives.
No. I mean, there were times where I was like, oh, like I would be thinking about, oh yeah, the podcast is coming up. Oh, I haven't talked to Angela in like 3 months. I should probably Marco Polo. And like not knowing what situation you were in or what you were doing, I would just be like thinking of you in the text message instead of being like, Angela, what are you doing?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like, okay, there were those times where I marked you just a hand
Yep.
waving, and you waved back, and it was like, okay, cool. We don't need to talk. We don't need to have words. We don't need to, nothing. It's like, you see this, I'm thinking of you. I love you. I care about you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go on about our lives.
Right. And I think the other thing that's important here is not just that we felt stable in the relationship to do that or like just didn't see a problem with it, but understanding that as an ND person, sometimes we can only focus our attention on the things in front of us if we're going to stay afloat.
Right,
And we both know that, like we acknowledge that about each other. And so we both knew in that moment, like that doesn't have to be the priority right now because we both are in that frame of thought and focusing on our things for the summer. And I think that's
right,
important
right.
too. Like that, even though I wasn't going, I am giving myself permission to not talk to Angela so I can not scream with another thing to
Right.
deal with. It was just I've gotten to that point where it's like I don't need to be like, it's okay, Molly. It's just a thing that I
Right.
can do now. But it took a lot of years of practice. So if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I can't do that. There has been 20 years of practice at this. So
Well,
please
and
don't worry.
two, we've established a relationship where, like, I don't feel like I have to call and say, Molly, I can't people today. So,
Right.
like, we don't have to do that with each other.
Right.
And now, obviously, if we have an appointment to do something, we would, of course, be like, hey,
Yeah.
whatever. But we don't feel the need to justify or make excuses, and
Mm-mm.
how rewarding and beautiful is that as a
Yeah.
friendship to not have to expend energy in justifying your personhood.
Right. I agree. Like, it's nice to know that I can just come back and like, yep, everything's great, and we continue on.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is, I feel like for part of it is I've learned to do that my entire life because, you know, military child,
Military.
you
Yeah.
know, and you move so much that you're like, friends, we're still friends, but now we're $1,500 apart.
Okay. Molly's back in business mode. We can see this today.
100 miles apart, and that's fine. And if we came in like in a similar place, it would be like, oh, okay, let's just pick up and continue on. Okay, I'm gonna reroute us out of the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Because we're late for a very important date. Back. Okay, so what did you do for this summer other than not talk to me in a way that was totally okay?
I mean, I worked my ass off. That's what I did over the summer. In April, I mean, actually, it was backdated to April. So actually, we didn't get the notification until like May. We became a 501c3.
And by we, she means Umbrella Alliance.
Umbrella Alliance US. Yes. Yes, became a 501c3. And we also, at the exact same time, launched the ND23 project. And so we had community listening sessions over several months. And in July, those kind of culminated, and we came to, you know, making a lot of transitions, speaking of transitions, into, you know, from what we thought the project was going to be, listening to the community and hearing what the community had to say, completely transitioning, redoing the entire thing, all of the project management, everything started over. So that's been a lot of work over the summer. So that's what I've been doing at the same time as having a lot of boundaries so that I can be and be great and healthy, because I was not feeling great and healthy. And along with transitioning off of a medication and back onto a medication that I used to take that worked really well for me, but then I wanted to go off of medication altogether, and we know how that could go. You know, we try to do that sometimes, it doesn't work. But it was such a hard one to transition off of. Years ago, I said I'd never take it again, even though it's by far the best medication that's ever worked for me. And so I went back on that. So that helped me be able to really instill the boundaries and make sure that I'm taking care of myself. So I've been playing a lot of video games. And Baldur's Gate 3 just came out like 2 weeks ago. And I have been, I mean, honestly, I was up until almost 1 o'clock this morning. Just so everybody knows, it's 7 a.m. where I'm at right now. So I slept for like 4.5, 5 hours because, of course, I had to read for an hour when I went to bed. So yeah, I've been playing a lot of video games, reading a lot of like silly, fun fantasy, you know, witches and vampires and stuff, books that are like just fun and kind of snarky, and yeah, I mean, having a lot of fun with that. A lot of fun. So that's me. How about you?
Well, so disclaimer, like we have a trifecta of neurodivergence in our family. And so the little is both autistic and ADHD. I'm bipolar. So we're just going to caveat. And then, you know, anxious, Tourette's, all the things. So I knew going into the summer that 3 weeks or three weeks, good grief, essentially 3 months trying to entertain at home was going to be a fucking nightmare. And so I convinced my partner that we need to go on a cross-country tour and visit family. And since we've never been to Canada, we can just throw that in there too. And so that's what we did. And so I got to see parts of the country I've never seen before. We kind of started collecting national parks like you collect Pokemon badges, gym leader badges. That's literally how we explained it to the little, because they were like, I don't want to go to a national park. And we were like, but it's like a shiny place, like you collect shiny Pokemon. And then they were on board. Like they were like, let's find another one. We rode trains. We got to go in a mine and learn about silver mining and pan for gold, which was super cool. I got to go to the Arches National Park, which is just gorgeous. If you've never been, I highly suggest going there. And yes, they did film Indiana Jones there, if you were wondering. And then like we got to go to a dinosaur place that was like very kid centric. I wanted to go to the legit dino dig that's active, but 6-year-olds entertaining, not so much. So we went to a kid place, and then roller coasters and family reunions, and why you don't go to family reunions was learned again. And then we went to Yellowstone, where there were 0 bison. 0.
This is a big deal, y'all. Again, we hadn't talked all summer, but 0 bison has been the topic of conversation the several times that we have talked since coming back from summer break.
They said there's supposed to be like hundreds of bison at all times. 0. So we did
this
that.
Is disheartening, and that can be a big deal for an ND person who is expecting, right?
Yes. Not to mention at this point, like 16 days have happened, and we've been constantly going and changing hotels practically every night, and meeting new people and having to learn new interactions. And honestly, at one point, my kiddo said, I don't want to be around that person. And I told them no, and they didn't listen, and they kept doing the thing I asked them to say no about, and I don't want to be around them anymore. And we were like, you respect that. That's fine. So like watching kids grow and seeing at home, it's safe, right? You build this bubble. You build this ND affirming little bubble in your house. And then you go out on vacation, and a majority of the people are not affirming in that way at all.
Right.
And so you get to see how those skills you've taught your kiddo work or don't work. And you have to learn to adjust and adapt. And that is definitely something we learned this summer. What was next? Oh, we went to Wyoming. My kid got thrown off a horse, and so did my mother-in-law. They're fine. Totally fine. And I will add, even my husband kind of noticed this. I've been on medication since November now. And again, bipolar. And those like really huge swings used to significantly affect how my anxiety affected my body, because it would be intense as fuck. And so although I was like nervous and anxious when the child was thrown a cartwheel into the air and down onto the ground, I was like, I need to stay as calm as possible. And like, I didn't attempt to get off the horse by myself, which would have been bad because this is my first time really on a horse for any reason. And I waited, and then I got down, and I was like, how are you, buddy? And I was calm. I mean, relatively. And so that was like one of those things of, this is why I'm on medication, because otherwise I would have been
for medication helping us regulate.
That's a win. We're going to take that as a win.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, then we kind of came home for a second. Then we went to Canada, where, okay. To all the Canadians out there, you do not know how good you have it with your McDonald's options.
Poutine at McDonald's.
That's not what I'm talking about. In case you didn't know, the U.S. has removed all salads and wraps and various
They have a lot
choices.
Healthier options, yeah.
There's none of that. We show up to DoorDash a Happy Meal for our kid who's screaming at 10 o'clock at night, and we realized that you have our signature wraps that we used to have, and they're gone now. I was sad that we did not get to experience adult McDonald's while we were there, but we did try loaded pierogi, which I just don't know how to explain loaded pierogi other than it's like fancy poutine with pierogies. Like, I guess is how I would describe it. But ours
Although
were
there
like,
are a whole bunch of people right now who have no idea what poutine is. Okay,
oh,
y'all, poutine is fries with squeaky cheese. It's like mozzarella kind of cheese, but it kind of squeaks on your teeth. And this brown gravy
yeah.
that melts the cheese but doesn't really melt the cheese, and that's why the cheese squeaks on your teeth. It's gross and delicious all at the same time.
And they come in various varieties.
And
Like, it
yeah,
could
you
be
can get it
other
with like
things. Like,
pizza sauce and all this stuff, but
pulled
yeah,
pork and whatever.
yeah.
So the loaded pierogies that we had were both like Asian fusion themed. So one had
Okay.
like kimchi and something else and like Kewpie mayo and delicious. Anyway, I digress on the pierogies. And then we went to New York to visit family. Nothing too exciting there. More national parks. And then we headed home, and 50 days later, summer was over. So, yeah, we made it through.
You did. You did. You made it through. You got back. You transitioned back, and everything is still fine. It's not been as difficult. Like for those of you who listened to our very first, I would say maybe even our first and second episode, our first and 2nd seasons, there was a lot of angst in there. And there's a lot of happy, fun, cool stuff like STEM mags.
Yes.
There are lots of those moments in there which are amazing and fun, but there's a lot of us talking about the things that are hard, the things that are difficult. And I would say that both of us together supported each other in making sure that we are taken care of. Not necessarily just taking care of ourselves, but taken care of, asking each other the questions like, what do you need right now? How can I support you? How can other people support you? How can you communicate that to them? Helping each other understand. And we had an episode when you started your new medication and all of that, like helping each other understand some of the feelings that happen with the new medication and some of the, the transitions of that. And I feel like this season is going to have a different feel because of that. I mean, let me tell you, my sensory sensitivities are 10% of what they were 5 months ago. And that is largely due to the medication that I'm taking. And that may not be the case for anybody else who takes the same medication. But for me, that was the case when I was on it before, and we didn't really notice it. And I did a lot of work with my psychiatrist to understand why things were better at that point of time. And it wasn't just the life circumstance stuff. It wasn't just the pre-military stuff and all of that, but it was also, this medication has a very specific work that it does on your nervous system because it's for nerves. It targets your nerves. And because of that, for me, it really helps with the sensory sensitivities, which are super, super, super heightened here where I live.
Right.
So that made like a huge difference. And I will not be surprised if we don't see that.
Yes.
In this season.
Well, and I
will not be surprised if we do see that in this season, is what I meant to say.
And I would also say, like, so you went off the medication, trying to be off medication. I was off medication for years with wrong diagnoses. And I think it's important to also note that, like, for me, I had to make a commitment of this is uncomfortable now, but I have to stay on the medication and see how it goes. Because my psychiatrist was like, as a person with bipolar disorder, you're going to be like, but I don't like how this feels. And that's why most people get off it. You have
Yep.
to stay and be strong and do the thing and just see how it pans out. And it's now at almost, we're at like, what, 8-9 months into it that I'm finally at a point where I'm like, oh, this ain't so bad. I got this. But it took time because there was a good uncomfortable bits of months. What is with my words today?
Bits of months, not the whole months, just bits of them. Just bits of months
where I like questioned the medication. And so if you're listening,
the empty feeling.
And yes, the empty feeling. And you're like,
empty feeling.
These people just really like medicine and I don't want medicine. And I respect your opinions, but do know that we have gone through that emotion roller coaster too. And we're just in a different place.
So can we just for a second, because we are talking a little bit today on what to expect. Yeah. So one of the things that can be expected is I want to have an episode, a guest episode, actually talking about something that is controversial in our community, and that is some of the the disability, like the way that we look at it. So we've got the different models of disability. We've got the medical model and we've got the social model. And then there's also a holistic model. And there is a lot of controversy around this topic. And, so we're going to have a guest come on. So it's not just us, it's somebody else and their opinion. Because here we are right now talking about medication, right? And when you talk about medication, you are looking through a medical lens and you're looking at something of, I'm a neurodivergent person, autism, ADHD, PTSD, anxiety, migraines, right? Like, and these are not things that I just accept and want to deal with. So if I look at this as just an identity and I fully go down that, if I go, yep, this is my identity, this is who I am, I'm not giving myself the opportunity to be as well as I can be. But if I look completely at the medical model, I'm also not giving myself the opportunity to be as well as I can be. So it's a very interesting conversation and one that is divisive in our community. So it is an episode that I'm very much looking forward to having. I'm stemming a lot right now because I really want to delve into the conversation at the moment, but today is not the day to do that. Yes, because it's definitely right there on the forefront of my mind.
I'm trying not to respond, so it's fine.
Okay, so anyway, that's something that we definitely want to talk about. And I know that I will be bringing in some of those really controversial topics that have been happening over the summer because the summer exploded in the indie world. Some real shit went down. And I'm hoping that we get to decide what we do on our podcast, but we will be talking about some of that shit. And as we do, we like to look at all sides of things. So I think it's going to be really interesting and really fun, informative and entertaining all at the same time. And I'm going to have to do some work after this, Molly.
I know. You're doing so good. You're doing so good. Yes. And I think that there's we've talked about having a lot more guests this season so that we can get more perspectives, more expertise in different things that, not that we don't know about them, but we aren't experts in those things. And
even
also
if we are, it's great to have other people's perspectives and yeah.
Yes. And we didn't talk about this before, but I think it would just be great to have just some ND folks on to talk about their experiences as well. In the sense of you don't need to just hear about Angela and Maya's experience, but hearing some other people from dealing with the drudgery and experiencing that dreamy part of things.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going somewhere. See, train of thought gone.
It happens.
I know. But as always, I will say, if you have things that you want to hear us talk about or bring in experts from, or all of those things because you want to learn more, please message us in any of the various channels that we have provided in the description below. Because we want to help you in your ND journey, in your queer journey, in all of those things. And we kind of just pick things out of a hat if you don't tell us what you want. And we hope that that's what you want. So there's that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. We talked about other topics and my mind is like,
okay, I have something this morning, and this was great. I checked LinkedIn this morning, and one of the first things that popped up was something from Neurodiversity Education Academy that was talking about, you know how I'm gonna step away from that for just 2 seconds and then come back. So you know how I get a little irritated about the positive psychology and the toxicity that can happen around that.
Yep. We had a whole episode about it.
We had a whole episode, multiple episodes about that. So I definitely have some issues with that, but I also have issues with the toxicity of negativity on like social media of let's just talk about all of the bad things and not talk about any of the good things. I really do think that there's a nice harmony that we can find because there's both in our world, and that's what living is all about. And let's be realistic, there's both. So anyway, Neurodiversity Education Academy had this great post on there it asked, do you know what a glimmer is? And it pulled in this information from Deb Dana, I believe her name is, who wrote several books actually, and talks a lot about polyvagal theory and nervous system. So a glimmer being the opposite of a trigger, that thing in your nervous system that helps you feel regulated and connected. And I loved that I saw that first thing this morning because I was like, oh, glimmers. I have glimmers. I like glimmers. And so some of my glimmers are rolling a nat 20. Hello, while I'm playing D&D, rolling a nat 20, baby. Bam! That's just this instant like feeling of amazingness in my body. It's wonderful. Exactly. And having my partner squeeze my feet, it's the weirdest thing. Like we'll be sitting on the couch, right? And just naturally, he's not necessarily thinking about it. He'll reach down and he'll kind of squeeze my feet. And I'm just like, oh, like immediately, it doesn't matter what's going on. It's this immediate, wonderful, beautiful feeling that I have. And so there's that like killing the bad guy in a video game. I mean, hello, that feels good. How about hearing your partner or your child laugh?
Yes.
Like that, just, and it's just this wonder. Not everybody laughing makes me feel great, but hearing them laugh makes me feel great immediately. So I liked that, like thinking about that, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna put like a Post-it note and like somewhere and be like, glimmer. What's a glimmer? Vacuuming. Ooh.
Ooh.
So Molly,
kitchen.
Yes. So what are some glimmers that you have?
Pulling your first 7 cards when you're playing Pokemon card game, and it fully sets up for a win for the rest of the game. Like, like, it's just the perfect card pulls. Like, yeah. Pulling an exclusive, like, it's been a Pokemon summer, guys. Just deal with me. Pulling the most expensive card in a regular pack, like a random one pack that you grab, and you get like the most expensive card in the set, that sets you up for a week of goodness, let me tell you. Or your child pulling the second most expensive. That did happen this week.
Nice,
So,
nice.
let's see. When your Sims can take care of themselves and you can do something stupid in the corner. Like, I don't know why. Like, you like finishing a book after being stuck reading the same page for 10 days because you just couldn't get past that page. And then all of a sudden, like 2 hours later, you've read 400 pages and you're like, yes, I'm set. And you start a new book like that. Yes.
Yes.
A bath with extremely hot water that when you get in, it makes your skin prickle and you can feel something for the first time that day. Let's see, more glimmers. I mean, business-wise, when a client says, like, without me in general doing anything, being like, oh my God, you get me, and this makes so much sense, and I feel so much better.
Oh yeah.
That is definitely a glimmer.
How about the first fizzy, ice cold drink of Dr. Pepper when you haven't had it for a while?
I mean, for me, it's just most anything carbonated, but yes. like especially if you like tried to drink water, and to me water is slimy and gross and it's like a whole sensory like no. But then if I buy like sparkling water and I go to drink it and it's just like perfectly fizzy, I'm like, oh, this is good water. Oh, I know. So I'm a musical person, although most people don't know that about me. So playing the piano, but like specific songs and being able to like play and sing. Like, I don't know why, but Sarah Bareilles' Gravity every time. Or just certain songs, like when you like get it just the right sound level in the car and you're by yourself and you're like belting the shit out of some musical theater tune and like you get prickles everywhere. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Right.
those are definitely things that.
So I'm actually going to encourage anybody who is listening right now or watching or reading, go ahead and write down some of these glimmers, because these are the things that all this time when I've been having rough times, when I'm in sensory overload, when I'm in, having a hard time, when I am frustrated because taking medication definitely helps me with the sensory stuff. For me, it really, really, really does. But it, because it dulls things, I may not be feeling the sensitivities as much, but that means I also am not enjoying the seeking ones as much, and so I have to seek harder to really get the benefit of those. So having these kinds of things written down in a place where I can remember, or my partner can remember, or Molly can remember, to look at, to remind me these are the things that help you regulate. These are the things that help you feel good. So think about it and write some of these down, not because it's positive psychology BS, but because it truly is you, and it truly can help when you're feeling stuck, and it can help you communicate to other people so they can help you when you're feeling stuck as well.
I'll just give another analogy just in case the ones we've given have not worked for your brain. Think of glimmers as like your body's reset, because when we talk about the glimmers that we're talking about, it's one of those things that like takes you from pegged out sensory overload back to a an amount that you can tolerate for like you can handle. So this is kind of like, what are the things that help me reset that, like reset button, like the Staples easy button, like that. If you're old enough to remember that. So because for me that helps me understand why they're important. Like
Right.
because for me it's, I'm to a point where I am going to throw things at
Right.
people.
The
And
sympathetic nervous system is completely in control, and
yeah.
we need something. We need a button. We need to find that lever, that hidden lever in this damn room, and pull the lever so that, okay, I've really been gaming a lot. We need to pull the lever to engage the parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah.
And the lever that we pull engages something that is several rooms away. Right? So that's what these glimmers are. These glimmers are the different the different rooms, right? Like you the first one is the lever, and then you've got the 4 rooms that you have to go through to find the door that opened 4 rooms away, that you have to run through to find the treasure chest.
I know you're giving like a very like Skyrim, Dungeons and Dragons analogy here, but all I could think of is in Yellow Submarine when there's all the and like there's things floating and there's all these alternate realities. That was all I could think of.
I mean, hey, sometimes it's like that, right?
Yeah.
But I gave myself a glimmer just having that conversation.
Right.
Just finding that analogy and being able to nerd out on that is a glimmer for me.
Oh my
And I know that there are people listening who will completely understand what I mean when I talk about pulling the lever, running through the rooms, and finding the treasure.
It's like yesterday when I was like, Angela, I just came up with this pun for the name of a package, and you've got to appreciate this.
Yes.
So I was writing Star Trek themed copy, and I have a package where people just come and talk to me, and it's a one-time package. So I came up with a name, Deep Space Wine.
WHINE. WHINE.
Oh my God. See, it's funny. Yeah.
It is. It is. It's
oh my God. Anyway, it did it again, Angela, if you can hear me. Sometimes this studio just likes to kick Angela out, and then Angela will come back. And so then I just talk to you all by myself for a while. But yes, so there's always something that, I mean, even if it is like just rewatching Star Trek or whatever, Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever nerdy thing is your thing. I know my kid, anytime they're struggling, they're like, let's play Pokemon. I'm like, okay, we'll play Pokemon. Or I need to log into Pixelmon. Okay, we'll do it. Not a problem. And yeah, those glimmers are great. But yes, there's a lot that all of us are going through. And yeah, there's shit all the time. There's always going to be something that's frustrating or overstimulating or what have you. And we do need to find something to help us manage in that moment. And Angela's sending notes. Let's see what Angela is saying. Oh. Oh no, her internet went out. Red alert. That's not good. Okay, well, I guess I will end here since Angela is gone. I will just recap. I hope your summer went well. I hope you did fantastic things. And if you just muddled through the summer, that's good because it's the end of summer and you're still here. So there are big transitions coming. There's transitions that you've gone through this whole time. And we see you. We want to hear about all of those things. And if you have any questions that you want to ask us, that you want us to cover, or want us to find a guest to cover, we are here to do that for you. And we'll talk to you next week for another episode. Episodes of Drudgery and Dreams are available every Tuesday. We go live at 9:00 in the morning Central Time. We're available wherever podcasts are available. You can watch us on YouTube. If you would like and subscribe, that's great. You can get a notification when we have something new to offer you. So we'll see you next week. Bye.